Howell-Williams. He is the director of Fruits in Suits, which is an LGBT leading networking group, as well as the director of Pink Season, which is the leading LGBT festival in Asia. So please welcome Philip as he explains to us his experience with equality.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I know some friendly faces here in the audience, and it's great to be able to come and talk to you about what I've been doing while I've been living in Hong Kong. Oops, wrong way, good start. So I'll give you a bit of background to myself. As was already said, my day job is I am a consultant for a financial advisory firm called Infinity Financial Solutions. My gay jobs are I am a board member of a registered charity which is called Pink Alliance. That is a communication group for other LGBT groups here in Hong Kong. It is non-profit, it is non-political, and it really helps to help the LGBT community in many different ways, most of all support. I am director of Fruits and Suits, which is also known as FINS, which is the largest LGBT networking group here in Hong Kong, and also director of Pink Season, which is the largest LGBT festival in Asia. I started my career years ago in Barclays Bank in London, and I got a little bit tired of the grey and the rain, so I decided to move to Asia. I'm not sure, looking at the weather this week, if that was a great decision. I moved to Thailand in 2009, and I was there for 5 years, and I learned a lot, and then relocated with the company here to Hong Kong in 2014. It was at that point that I was really looking at what direction I wanted to take my career, and I decided that I was going to focus upon working with the LGBT community, giving financial advice. And that is the logo we created. It was at that point though that I really started thinking, well, I need to do some research into the LGBT community and find out what are the shortfalls and what work needs to be done. And that really started with looking at what we're all discussing here today, and that is equality. What does equality really mean, and what is the purpose of it? The Oxford Dictionary describes equality as the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, or opportunities. So when I started my research, looking specifically at Hong Kong and where the LGBT community stands here, the statistics I found that in Hong Kong, homosexuality was legalised in 1991. In 2006, through a very high-profile legal case, the equal age of consent was agreed. And in 2011, it was declared that it's not a mental illness, which is nice. So looking at one of the main topics here in Hong Kong when you look at equality, and that is marriage, same-sex marriage. This is quite a hot topic which is going on around the world, and many countries are adopting this, Germany being one of the most recent ones, and of course here in Asia, Taiwan. So looking at a global perspective, this is a map which is fairly faded, so you can't see it properly. But you can see the countries here on the left. You've got North America, Canada, South America, Western Europe, South Africa. Down in the corner there, you have got New Zealand. And up there, which that's slightly out of date, there should be a little tiny pink dot, which is Taiwan. But elsewhere in Asia, same-sex marriage, it just doesn't exist. But what does that matter? Of course, I get it to work. Wrong way. Wait for it to catch up, so. What does it matter? Of course, here in Hong Kong, you can get your visa, you can get your rights if you have a same-sex partner. So you will get your spousal visa, and that gives you lots of different rights. It gives you the right to work, It gives you the right to have state health care. It gives you the right to have your MPF, your pension. It gives you the right to care for your partner if they were incapacitated. It gives you the right to care for your children if your partner were incapacitated. But if you throw that evil word in, oh dear, those rights all disappear. So you could be moving here to Hong Kong, and you would not be able to get a spousal visa. That means that you would not have access to state healthcare. It could limit you to be able to get different types of insurance to replace those vital needs. It could stop you from being able to get spousal work benefits, so you're not getting any of the benefits which a heterosexual couple would from work. It could mean that if your partner were ill, that you would not have any right to make decisions about their medical future. And one of the more scary statistics is that if you have children and you are in a same-sex relationship, when you move here, the child has to be registered to the parent with the visa only. If that parent were to die, your children would be automatically taken into state care, and there will be a legal battle to get that child out of state care because you're not recognised as that other parent. Research done by The Economist. This is specific to Asia, and these statistics are a little bit contradictory. 77% of people said that they would be upset if their children or loved ones were in love with somebody of the same sex. However, 63% of people believe that human rights apply to everyone, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, or identity. 34% of people believe that LGBT people, or LGBT should be a crime. So statistically, that's a third of you in this room. 42% of people believe that same-sex desire is a Western phenomenon. And 49% of people said that they would feel uncomfortable if their next-door neighbour were LGBT. Going to the UK, Stonewall have found that 1 in 5 employees have experienced verbal bullying from colleagues, customers, or service providers solely based upon their sexual orientation. 1 in 8 people do not feel comfortable reporting homophobia, and half of trans people do not feel comfortable living in their preferred gender. This is the UK, so if you think about those statistics there, imagine what they're going to be like here in Hong Kong. So, what are the repercussions? Taiwan is quite an interesting case. It's the only country which has so far in Asia supported same-sex marriage. And this is quite a scary statistic. 1 in 5 LGBT people in Taiwan have attempted suicide. And that is purely because of lack of support, lack of understanding, and lack of equal rights for the LGBT community. What are the solutions? There are many different ones, but the main one is stand up and really do something. Support the LGBT community in whichever way you can. And that is really where I got involved in these different groups which I've become involved in. And I'm very proud with working with my wonderful colleague Andrew over there on the work which we have been doing with Pink Season here in Hong Kong. I'm going to give you a bit of background into Pink Season. As I said before, it is the largest LGBT festival in Asia, and it runs from the 30th of September until the 4th of November. I have got the strapline, which is Asia's premier LGBT festival, celebrating acceptance, inclusion, and awareness through an exciting program of art, education, entertainment, sports, and adventure. I have got a little exclusive for you, if you like it. Hot off the press, we have got the promotional video for Hong Kong. You are the first people to see this. It was literally given to me last night, and I will show it to you now. That was created. Thank you. That was created by our wonderful friends at Treacle, who are our main sponsor of Pink Season this year. We're really excited about it. And I'm going to give you a bit more information now about what it is and why we're doing it. It runs over 5 weeks, and we have got themed days. So each Tuesday we are focusing upon art. We are focusing upon LGBT artists and LGBT-focused art. It's there, it's going to be free for everybody to attend, and we're really directly supporting the community, making sure that people can promote their work, people can sell their work, people can talk about the concepts behind it. We have different days, different themes, looking at different types of media, from photography through to graphic illustration to design, through to interactive art, and on Halloween, we've got a Halloween special as well. Of course, being the LGBT community, we can't have a festival without a little party as well. So we've got a series of entertainment evenings. We have got open-air cinemas, we have got variety nights, we've got quiz nights, we've got networking nights as well. We have got family and sporting events as well. That is looking at family picnics for the LGBT families groups and also adopted families groups as well. We've got the Amazing Race or Urban Race, we've got the Flotilla party, we've got the launch party, we've got a bike ride, and we've got the finale, which is out in the open, which is a large beach party. But the main structure and concept behind Pink Season is to add value and offer support directly to the LGBT community, and this is the area which I'm proudest of most of all. We have created a series of 5 seminars. The first of those is offering direct support to people going through the process of coming out, whether that be at home, whether that be in education, or whether that be in the workplace. We have been offering direct support to the community, so for people which are having difficulties, ways that they can get support, which they might not be able to find otherwise. As I said, one of the things you should be able to do for the LGBT community is stand up and offer support. In the local term, or many people might call it allyship. But what does that mean? How do you support the community? So we're putting together a seminar explaining that, different concepts, and whether it be at work or whether it just be with your friends. We're looking at health in the community as well. Statistics show that HIV is rising here in Hong Kong, which is a scary concept considering the way it's being attacked around the world, trying to bring down those statistics. So again, working with the local communities, we are finding ways to educate the public about same-sex and about the misconceptions of getting tested for HIV. We are looking at diversity in recruitment. So looking at different industry sectors and looking at what they perceive to be diversity and inclusion in their business, and then perceptions from students about what they perceive diversity and inclusion means and their expectations from companies when they're about to start their career. The final one is a very exciting one, which is about the case in Taiwan. We're actually flying over the claimant and the lawyer which actually won the case in Taiwan. And we're going to be having representatives from LegCo and also from the Equal Opportunities Commission talking about what happened in Taiwan, the lessons that can be learned, and what is happening here in Hong Kong. It's going to wrap it up. That is the calendar of the events which is there. So there's lots to choose from. We've got the website which is up and running. My colleague Andrew is over there, so if you have any questions, then he will be about and able to answer those for you. But I'll hand it now over to the floor and see if anybody's got any questions for myself. Thank you. Silence.
Here we go.
Thanks so much for that. I feel the cause very strongly in many ways. I'm half Ugandan, and I think you might know that that's a country that has a particularly dark record on this front. So it's inspiring seeing also what you're doing here. If you could just give us a little teaser. I know you mentioned the Taiwan case study is coming up for discussion as an event, but what are some of the factors that led to the Taiwan success story?
I think when you look at the case in Taiwan and look at what is happening here in Hong Kong, you really need to step back quite a few steps and look at why same-sex marriage is not approved here in Hong Kong. And this really goes back to colonial days. When the British, and I can say this being British, owned Hong Kong, it really ignored the local community. It ignored the education behind the local community. And what happened then was that you had very conservative religious groups stepped in and took hold of the education system. They educated people to be very conservative, and those people are now in power. In Taiwan, that was the case, but there was more rationale behind it. There was a lot of pushback about it, and there still is in Taiwan. It's got 2 years, although the legal case has been passed, it's got 2 years before it actually put into legislation. So it's only a legal case that's been agreed at the moment, statistically. In Hong Kong, if you look at statistics which from research which has been done by the Equal Opportunities Commission, there was a survey done 2 years ago, and different age brackets, if you looked at the older generation, only about 27% of them agreed with equal rights for the LGBT community. If you look at the age bracket of 20 to 30, 97% of people agreed with equal rights for the LGBT community. So you can see that as generations are passing through, the opinions are changing. So it's very much about getting promotion out there and saying, no, we are exactly the same as you, it's just we happen to love somebody who is of the same gender. The best way to do that is to basically offer support and try and get involved in as many different ways as you can. I believe personally that same-sex marriage in Hong Kong is really not that far away. There are some very high-profile legal cases which are going through at the moment, at least 2 of them. And so many different groups and companies are lobbying for that. And as the business sector stands up and talks about it and pushes it towards the government as well, then it will bring it to the forefront. But it's a multi-pronged attack. It needs to be done by the youth, it needs to be done by the business sector, and it needs to be done through education, which is very much what these seminars are about.
Thank you. I have just a question. When you talked about sort of the lack of same-sex marriage and the impact on visas, that's a sort of a narrow concern for expats only, I would imagine, or people in relationship with expats. So are there concerns that kind of the local community talks about that the expat community doesn't talk about, and how do you get them to sort of talk more to each other?
Yeah, there is very much a disconnect, unfortunately, between the very local LGBT community and the expat LGBT community. With many of the seminars which we're doing them in Cantonese, directly trying to approach the local community. Because generally if you're an expat and you are LGBT, then you're not really going to have that much of a problem about the coming out process. Of course it's difficult for anybody who has to go through it, but with the local community it's very much about being hidden in the crowd. You go to work and you pretend that you're somebody else, you're at home, you pretend you're somebody else. It's only when you go out with a group of friends that you're really able to truly be yourself. And it's trying to, again, break down those barriers. Of course, when you're looking at the visa side of things, yeah, that does affect the expat community. But then you come to the other side of it when you're looking about starting a family, about the rights to be able to have the legal recognition of your partner. So if you've got your MPF and you were to die, what happens to that money? Oh, you can't go to your partner because they're same-sex. They don't recognise the marriage. You can't start a family. There are so many restrictions on the local community as well as the expat community as well.
Anyone else? Are you gonna get them individually at the end? Well, thank you so much, Philip, for that awesome talk. best of luck with your with the fight. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned for our event next month. The theme will be genius, so please stick around. There's plenty of, I think, coffee and some breakfast left as well, some music and some mingle and a beautiful view. Thank you very much, guys.